On this episode of Cape Media News, the Hyannis Marathon, White Shark Catalog update, and an interview with the Cape Cod DSA. These stories and more tonight on Cape Media News. Good evening and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Maxie Davidson. Public comment is open through March 15th in the town of Barnstable for the Complete Streets Draft Prioritization Plan. In collaboration with the Cape Cod Commission and based on public feedback collected this past summer, town staff have worked to develop a draft prioritization plan. The plan lists a number of priority roadway improvement projects, including, but not limited to, intersection redesigns, pedestrian and bike network connections, streetscape enhancements, and transit investments throughout the town of Barnstable. The draft prioritization plan is now available for review and comment through Wednesday, March 15th. To review the proposed priority projects and to submit comments, please visit the Cape Cod Commission's webpage. The Dennisport West Dennis Advancement Committee wants to hear from you. They have created a survey for Dennis citizens to complete so the committee better understands the priorities of those who live, work, and visit the town's southern villages. The Dennisport West Dennis Advancement Committee makes periodic recommendations to the Town Select Board with the village's best interests in mind, and this survey will surely influence the discussion. The committee meets at the Dennis Public Library the first Tuesday of each month at 6:15 p.m. These free meetings coincide with the monthly Crime Watch meeting for twice the information and local involvement in one evening. For a link to the survey, visit the Dennisport West Dennis Advancement Committee's Facebook page. The Hyannis Marathon, Half Marathon, 10K, and Marathon Relay is one of the premier winter race events in New England. It's the first distance race event of the year with runners from all over New England hoping to either run a personal record, cover the distance for the first time, qualify for the Boston Marathon, or to just get moving again after a winter of cold and slow runs. Mitch Sock has more.
On your marks, get set,
go!
The Hyannis Marathon kicked off last weekend outside of the Hyannis Resort and Conference Center. The Sunday morning's big race wasn't the only event for participants to take part in. Fun runs, dinner parties, and meet and greets with notable marathoners, including 1972 Olympic gold medalist Frank Shorter, and more were available starting Friday evening. I caught up with Mr. Shorter to get his advice for new runners and talk a little bit about his involvement with the Cape running community.
My advice is always go out at a pace where you can say to yourself, because of your training, look, I can go the whole way at this pace, and back off 30%, because at 20 miles, you'll thank me. My presence here, starting with last year, was to support the running community on the Cape, not just because I'd moved to Falmouth last year, over a year now, but because after COVID, people really needed to get out and start doing things again. And I wanted to support the races, you know, and say, look, it's time to start up again. And so that's the other reason. And so I did it last year, and now I'm going to do it again this year.
As one of only 2 Americans to ever win the men's Olympic marathon event, and most recent to do so, Mr. Shorter gave his thoughts on the state of American Olympic runners.
I think we're closer on the women's side. The women are running really well at an international level now. And I don't know what the reason is on the men's side, but I do think what could help, particularly the men, is that when we were all training in the 1970s, we supported each other, all the people against whom I competed. When we weren't competing, we actually would train together and help each other, and then the race would come and we'd try to beat each other's brains out, and then when it was done, we'd go jog down together. And I think the money and the agents and the shoe companies have mitigated against that, in that they have made it so that the enclave in Boston, with Bill Rogers, that can't really exist anymore, because all the athletes in that enclave will have different influences financially. And I think that works against that training together, because when you're in a group, the group all get better together than they would individually. Each person in that group gets better than he or she would were they doing it alone. And I think we've lost some of that connection.
For Cape Media News, I'm Mitch Sock.
Looking for a summer job? The town of Dennis is now hiring for summer seasonal positions, including lifeguards, police community service officers, natural resource monitors, golf rangers and laborers, beach attendants, and recreation counselors and instructors. These positions offer great opportunities for those looking to gain experience, meet new friends, and of course, make some seasonal cash. Interested applicants should visit the town's website for more information and to submit their application. Pi Day, which falls on March 14th each year, is a celebration of the mathematical constant pi, 3.14 like the date. It is observed by math enthusiasts and educators around the world and is often marked by pie eating contests, math challenges, and other fun activities. The Friday Club, originally founded in 1901, is a women's organization dedicated to raising money for local charities. Help them with their latest fundraiser in celebration of Pi Day. Starting earlier this week on Monday, March 6th and extending through the 11th, you can pre-order apple and blueberry pies. Placed orders will be available for pickup at the Friday Club, 365 Main Street, Route 6A in Yarmouthport on National Pie Day between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. All proceeds will be donated to charities on Cape Cod. Orders can be made by calling 508-362-5251. Dive into a world of science, engineering, and cybersecurity with Cape Cod Community College's free Summer Deep Sea Challenge program. For students entering grades 7, 8, and 9, this week-long program is designed to explore the fascinating world of STEM through hands-on activities and interaction with industry professionals. Your child will have the chance to build and code their own underwater vehicle, learn about cybersecurity, and make new friends. Plus, they'll get to take home their own autonomous underwater vehicle and other program-related goodies. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Applications are being accepted until May 1st. Visit 4C's website to learn more and apply for the Gen Cyber Deep Sea Challenge program. The town of Chatham is seeking a dedicated, driven, and knowledgeable candidate to become Chatham's next shellfish propagation specialist / assistant shellfish constable. The position aids in enforcement of local and state shellfish regulation, monitoring close areas, checking permits, measuring catch and assists with community outreach and education efforts. A bachelor's degree in shellfish biology or environmental science and 3 years of related experience preferred. Starting salary is between $65,000 and $69,000 annually, depending on qualifications and experience. For the full job description, visit the Town of Chatham website. Cover letters and resumes should be sent as one PDF document to jobs@chatham-ma.gov. Attention, Megan Downey. Coming up after the break, the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy updates its catalog. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Karen with Latham Center's Adult Supported Community Living team. If you've ever had a desire to do meaningful work, let me tell you about our shared living program. Our adult services program here on Cape Cod and just over the bridge has unique opportunities for individuals, couples, or families who can open their homes and their hearts to an individual with special needs, age 22 or older. Latham Center's Shared Living Program is a model of support for individuals with disabilities that allows an adult with special needs to achieve independence in a safe, nurturing home. Shared Living providers welcome individuals with developmental disabilities into their homes and their lives. For the individual being served by this program, one of the most positive outcomes is the widening of a traditional family network. For the Shared Living provider, the role offers a great deal of flexibility as well as an opportunity to make a significant change in the life of someone with developmental disabilities. In Shared Living, an adult with special needs is carefully matched with a caring provider who shares their home, gives individualized support, and earns income for the support services and their needs of their new family member. The provider is compensated with a monthly stipend and with the added benefit of sharing his or her life with someone who will give back in so many unexpected ways. The most important component of this model is the process of making the right provider-client match. Latham's Adult Supported Community Living team seeks to place the best matching provider with the best matching client, and sometimes that can take a while. We're hoping to place someone for years to come. For clients with involved families, we aim to make one larger family, not two separate families. There are many ways to learn about Latham Centers. Please visit our website at lathamcenters.org/sharedliving. Thank you.
The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy has updated their white shark catalog with data from the 2022 season, adding more than 55 new sharks to their growing list of over 600 individual white sharks. For more on this, here's Ryan Thompson.
Move over, Jaws. There's a new shark in town. The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, or the AWSC, has recently updated their white shark catalog to include data from the 2022 season. The catalog, which was started in 2014, has now identified more than 600 individual white sharks with unique markings, colorations, and nicknames.
The White Shark Catalog is our catalog of all of our individual white sharks that we have observed so far. And it's comprised of all of their different features, and you can click on it through the White Shark logbook and see all of our sharks. It's important because we can observe all the sharks over the course of many years. We could see how they have grown, we could see any seal interactions that they have had in the form of seal scratches, and we could see their movement and observe their population.
During the 2022 research season, the AWSC identified 55 new sharks and recognized 63 familiar faces. Among the returning sharks was Danny, an 11-foot male white shark who was first identified in 2014 and can be recognized by the markings on his fins.
Not all white sharks look the same. What we look at is their back fin, their caudal fin, and any white markings that they have on that fin. We look at their dorsal fin, which is their top fin, any white markings on the dorsal fin, and also the trailing edge, which is the back notches of that fin. Those are very unique for each white shark. We also look at the counter shading, the gray and white coloration between, and that pattern is very unique. We look at the pelvic fin, which is related to that counter shading, and we also look at the gills, any white markings and gray markings on the gill slits. Danny is really unique. He has unique caudals. One of his caudals has a white marking on it. Danny has a really unique caudal eyelet, so he's very easy to identify.
Since Danny was tagged in 2019, he has been sighted as far south as Georgia and as far north as Nova Scotia, Canada.
We first observed Danny in 2014, and we've seen him come back to Cape Cod every year since. So he's a shark that we've seen grow, which is really cool, and just observe throughout the summer.
The AWSC urges everyone on the east coast of the United States and Canada to report any sightings of white sharks and submit pictures or videos. This will enable the AWSC to continue to grow and enhance their catalog.
Sometimes we only get partial shots of different features, so maybe a swipe of part of a caudal fin, the tail fin, and nothing else. So sometimes that can be very hard. We just get all the footage that we can and compile it in our catalog and use all the footage that we can to identify sharks. Cape Cod sometimes has really bad water quality, so trying to see specific features of white sharks underwater could be hard through Cape Cod.
The catalog is open to the public and can be accessed on the AWSC website, atlanticwhiteshark.org. As the AWSC's catalog continues to grow, we can only imagine what new discoveries will be made about these incredible creatures. For Cape Media News, I'm Ryan Thompson.
On February 27, 2023, at approximately 6:18 p.m., the Dennis police received a 911 call reporting a victim had just been robbed by at least two individuals, one of which had brandished a firearm during the altercation. During the course of the investigation, Dennis police detectives developed information which led them to an apartment at the Dennis Commons in Dennisport. At the residence, officers recovered a replica handgun and other evidence of the robbery. As a result, 2 adult subjects have been arrested and charged with the following offenses: a 20-year-old male resident of South Dennis charged with armed robbery, assault and battery, larceny from a person, and conspiracy, and a 19-year-old male resident of Dennisport charged with armed robbery, larceny from a person, and conspiracy. Both suspects have been arraigned at the Orleans District Court and released on cash bail. Additional charges for armed robbery, conspiracy, and receiving stolen property against a 15-year-old juvenile from Dennisport are pending at this time. Although St. Patrick's Day isn't until the 17th, the festivities are coming to the Cape this weekend. For more on this, here's Ryan Downs.
Don't let this holiday pass like any other weekend. Become Irish for the weekend and take full advantage of all the festivities Cape Cod has to offer this St. Patrick's Day season. The Cape Cod Irish Village has paired up with the parade, as well as Mac Shamrock Productions to host a weekend-long indoor Irish festival. There will be live entertainment of all sorts, vendors, and children's activities all weekend within the resort's Highport Conference Center and Bogey's Bar, as well as transportation to and from the parade.
We have a wonderful event coming in less than 90 hours away, and we hope to have a fun-filled, action-packed adventure time, and we'd like to thank you all for making it possible as we host thousands of people coming to our community and visiting our shops and our hotels and our parks and our beaches and everything else they want to see. And we're going to have over 100 participants. We have some unicyclers and jugglers and about 6 pipe bands. Mr. Rittenauer, I know you were concerned about that. But no, it's going to be fun. It's Saturday. It's 11 a.m. step off. And for those people that want to drive around, there'll be a detour. Have some patience with us. The event won't last too long. Hopefully by 3 o'clock, the road will be open, and thank you all once again.
Check-in starts Friday. Dinner packages will be served buffet-style from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. in the main ballroom, with live entertainment. Breakfast buffets will be served in the Bass River Room from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. on Saturday, and 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. on Sunday. Saturday's lunch and dinner will be in Bogey's Bar with live entertainment. Reservations will not be available, and the bar will serve on a first-come basis. Friday night's entertainment runs from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. in the ballroom and is headlined by DJ Sean O'Toole, while Bogey's Bar will host Kieran Davenport from 9 p.m. till close. Saturday's entertainment will begin at 10 a.m. in the ballroom and feature several acts until 9 p.m. Bogey's entertainment will run from 1 p.m. to close. Weekend packages begin at $295 plus tax for single occupancy and $219 plus tax for double occupancy. Both options include 2 breakfast and 1 dinner voucher. The Irish Village can be found at 35 Scudder Avenue in Hyannis. Reservations and information can be obtained by calling the resort's reservation staff at 508-394-9300 or going online to theemeraldresort.com. For Cape Media News, I'm Ryan Downs.
Starting Monday, March 13th through Friday, March 17th, 2023, from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., Vineyard Wind will install a duct bank within the intersection of West Main Street and Strawberry Hill Road in Hyannis. As a result, West Main Street will be closed to through traffic from Route 28 to Pine Street, and Strawberry Hill Road will be closed from Pine Street to Route 28. Detours will be necessary to safely complete the work. Businesses on West Main Street will remain open during construction and accessible via posted detours, along with police details to assist in directing traffic. Construction equipment will be mobilizing daily surrounding the intersection. Motorists should expect delays. If you have any questions or wish to receive Vineyard Wind project updates, please contact Dana Ribeiro, Massachusetts Liaison, at Vineyard Wind at 508-525-3386 or drribeiro@vineyardwind.com. The Harwich Police Department is partnering with the Law Enforcement Torch Run to bring back their polar plunge for a 3rd year. Set at Red River Beach on Saturday, March 18th, plungers will run into the ocean to support the Special Olympics. Gather your bravest inclusion celebration friends and family, create a plunge team, and start fundraising. The Polar Plunge is about more than just a good time. By fundraising $100 or more, you are empowering over 14,000 Special Olympics athletes in Massachusetts to train and compete in the sports they love, sponsoring lifelong friendships and competitive spirits, and celebrating inclusion for individuals with intellectual disabilities on and off the playing field. Registration and check-in begins at 10 a.m. with the plunge at 11 a.m. Parking is available at the beach, and participants should contact Polar Plunge at specialolympicsma.org with any questions. Coming up after the break, News Director Mitch Sock sat down with members of the Cape Cod DSA on this week's edition of Cape Media News Insights. Stay tuned.
For over 50 years, Elder Services of Cape Cod and the Islands has been finding creative solutions to ensure we can all thrive as we age. We are your connection to the resources you need to stay safe, healthy, and independent.
Cape Cod and the Islands can be a great place to grow older. Every town in our area has a robust and vibrant council on aging. And then there is us, Elder Services. We are the regional access point for federal and state-sponsored programs designed to support us while we age.
Our agency coordinates home-delivered meals, manages home health care and personal services, supports family caregivers, offers meaningful volunteer opportunities, investigates allegations of abuse and neglect, and so much more. Please visit our website to learn more before you need us, or call us if you need services now.
Community support is more important than ever, and the Cape Cod chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America aims to provide educational resources to the citizens of the Cape. News Director Mitch Sock sat down with members of the Cape Cod DSA on this week's edition of Cape Media News Insights.
So I know in the general public, not everybody really knows what the DSA is, and there's a lot of misinformation about what the DSA is. In a few words, could you guys explain what your view of what the Cape Cod chapter of the DSA is all about?
Personally, for me, what the chapter, or at least what the local chapter is about, it is there to help people, help our local community, be it learning about housing, telling them what their options, their options are, and how we can make our housing community better. To telling people about what they can do in labor movements, as well as just overall what's going on in their community. Just keeping people informed and helping out who we can, and so that people who are working on Cape and in the community can feel empowered.
So Democratic Socialists of America can be a triggering name for people, and it comes from a deep misunderstanding of what democratic socialism is and what it is not. You know, in the news you see right-wing pundits knowingly lying about what groups like DSA are and represent. They try to allude to Antifa-oriented terrorist, communist type of work that doesn't exist on the left, as far as I'm aware, or at least certainly not at any sort of serious level. It's a made-up threat, but it's a made-up threat that's been working for the right of this right-wing political system of this country for 60 years, 80, maybe 80 years now, since the Red Threat. But the reality is something very different. The reality is that democratic socialists are the type of people who are going to fight for the 99% instead of the 1%. They're the people who are going to hold corporations and other bad actors to account when misdeeds are bound to happen. At the local level, that means ensuring that our government structures, which have been populated by the same people who have caused things like the housing crisis on Cape Cod, will move progressively towards better housing justice and food justice, climate justice, and more across the Cape and the islands. So to me, that's what DSA represents. It's not some sort of like weird communist takeover concept. DSA is a group that's out there to look out for the people who are working class in this community, who have to fight every day against huge corporate interests who are making a dollar off of us just about everywhere. As a small business owner, I can attest to the fact that food prices have gone up by double-digit percentages around here, and that kind of expense increase for people on the margins is going to put people out of house and home. And so we as DSA members and them as DSA leadership have, I think, a responsibility to take some of the knowledge and the skills that we've built over our careers and try to start to shift the narrative in a place that's hard to shift the narrative in. Cape Cod is still very old and very set in its ways. I like to talk to people and say that Cape Cod sort of feels like you're going back in time to the 1980s when you talk to folks around here, both in terms of their political perspectives, but just sort of in general how they see the world. And I think that we can do better. I think we have an obligation to do better for the working class and for the young people who will make up the future of what Cape Cod becomes.
Yeah. And to further on what Nathan was saying, as someone who grew up and was raised and went to school here their entire life, I can certainly attest that there's not a lot of pro-working class education on Cape Cod. It certainly is a fault of just curriculum and not having the ability and resources to focus on these types of measures. And whenever a measure like this is being seriously focused on, be it intersectionality or working class issues, normally, like Nathan was saying, we have disingenuous attacks from the right that usually makes our education system water down those topics. Something I'm really hoping for as co-chair of the DSA is to help move the community towards education and learning about these, learning about what's going on, how we can do things for our community, the history of working class issues, not just on Cape, but just around the country. There are so many people nowadays that will probably learn more about a union strike or something, or a working class issue, be it nationally, locally, or even internationally, from a YouTube video than actual school. And I find that extremely disappointing. And that's why, and to go back to Cape Cod, we have a local legislature, town council, and county commissioners, and a lot of people my age, younger, slightly older, don't really feel like they're engaging in local and state politics. And one of my hopes is that through education we can, and teaching others, we can change that, because if we get more people active in our community that will be having to deal with the long-term consequences of what goes on in our town, we can start actually giving a better quality of life, be it economically, ecologically, and socially, to the people on Cape Cod.
Be sure to catch the full interview on Comcast Channel 99 next week. Thank you for joining us this evening, and tune in next week for more hyperlocal news that matters. For Cape Media News, I'm Maxie Davidson.